Call this meeting of the Harriman City Council to order, January 21st, 2020. Before we get started, we'll have a prayer by Councilman Wright, followed by a pledge allegiance to the flag. Councilman Wright.
Will you pray with me? Our Father, as we meet tonight for this business session to conduct the affairs of our city, Father, we seek your help and guidance with all of our affairs that we deal with tonight. We ask that you would guide our hearts and minds in the spirit of fairness and right thoughts and speech, and may we reach the right and successful conclusions on each matter that we undertake that are at hand. We thank you for being our source of guidance, and we ask that you bless those who are with us this evening. Bless our town and our nation. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Buddy Holly.
Here.
Tim Johnson.
Here.
Kenyon Me. Here. Sam Russell.
Here.
Lonnie Wright.
I'd like to declare quorum. Motion to approve the minutes of the January 7th meeting.
I second it.
Motion by Councilman Wright, second by Councilman Johnson. Councilman Wright.
No.
Councilman Johnson.
No, sir.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenyon Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Motion to pay the bills.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Wright,
Second.
second by Councilman Holly. Councilman Wright.
Motion.
Councilman Holly.
Motion.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenyon Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. This time we'll hear from delegation. If you'd like to address this council, please stand, come to the podium, state your name, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. We'll go into reports. Street Department.
Thank you, Mayor. The last time I was here, I had another meeting the last time y'all met. We finished putting up Christmas ornaments up. At 513 Cumberland in the alley, there's a big blue ball. Sam there called me on it. It was a big one, and we cut it up and fixed the alley back. We still need to patch it. Cut trees on Winslow that was leaning. That's down off of Carter Street. Cut about 4 trees there. Top trees on Swanee Street. Top 6 trees at Riverfront Park for Charlie next to the park. Top 2 trees on Morgan. Top 1 tree on Clifty. We fixed railroad sign at Riverfront. Railroad pretty strict on it. It was messed up. Fixed it. Fixed the stop sign at Riverfront. But we're still picking up leaves, finishing leaf pickup at this time. Still getting tons of brush every day. Cleaned some ditches. The signs that Mr. Ham's ordered for, I don't know, it's a truckload. We unloaded them today. I think they go on. Where do they go, Mr. Ham?
Run Street, Trenton, Livonia.
A little bit everywhere. We've been busy. Still got a lot to do. Any questions? I also like to say the street committee met and we checked the roads out that was going to be paved. Y'all be voting on it. Mr. Holly and Mr. Johnson, we rode around and looked at the streets, that was recommended.
I just want to thank Drake for doing that for us because they really need it bad. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Fire department?
You guys got my monthly stats. A couple more things I want to report on is our FEMA grant. Kenny's been working very hard with FEMA, trying to get our process to go through. He has a conference call, I think, tomorrow with the guy to get everything. So hopefully by the second meeting in February, we'll be able to put it on the agenda for us to approve the purchase of the equipment that we got. The other thing, we've been doing some updates at Station 2. The last time we just done the walkthrough, like the lights in the bays and stuff, we put LED lights in the truck bay, took all the old lights down. Thanks to Bear Tibble for installing them all, saved us a lot of money. I want to thank the mayor and you all for the dinner that you served us up there for Christmas time with the department heads. That meant something to me. I really do appreciate you just taking the time to do that. Just want to say that I really do appreciate it, and I don't really have nothing else at this time. I'll take any questions if you got any.
No questions for the chief? All right, thanks, sir. Appreciate you. Police department.
You all should have got our December monthly stats in an email, and I gave everyone our yearly stats tonight. I laid them up there for you when you can go through them. I like to say I got to see the yearly stats when they came together, and I'm pretty pleased with what we did this past year. Our drug charges doubled for the year, and we're getting more people off the streets like that, and we have a lot coming up this year. We have 3 in-service training dates set, and I'd like to thank the fire department, Chief Daniels. They have somebody in their fire department that's going to be able to teach a class for us that'll save us a lot of money on having to do the class online. So I really appreciate him getting that lined up for us to help us with our in-service. And we're going to, sometime this spring, we're going to host a Citizens Academy that will consist of, I think, 8 weeks, 1 night a week. And I'm hoping that the city manager and the councilman and the mayor can come and be a part of it and have a night to talk for maybe 30, 40 minutes just on your role on council and as being mayor, to the citizens that come to the academy, to let them know what the city's doing and what it stands for. And our surprise guest speaker will be Teresa Daniels. Teresa, oh no, I'm sorry. Teresa don't like to talk. We may have to get Drac instead. But that's what we got going on right now so far. We're fixing to start a neighborhood watch program to try to get into the different neighborhoods to talk to the people there and set stuff up for them. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
No, just want to clarify, you had said that you're happy that we doubled the drug arrest. What you mean is that we're cracking down harder.
Yes, yeah.
Because it's sad that we have to make some.
Yeah,
arrests.
it is, but
I
yeah,
appreciate what you're
I'm
going
pleased that we're working harder on getting them cleaned up.
And I appreciate what you do with it. Thanks, sir. Golf?
Not much new at the golf course. We put the tarps down on the green Saturday. That was because of the cold front coming in. We're going to take those up tomorrow. Still getting some members signed up. We've got it all city employees, our 25% off membership. So, if you know anybody that wants to sign up to play for the year, it's actually a really good deal for city employees. I'm trying to get a tile fixed out of the golf course. Drac says he's going to help me, but we're not holding our breath.
Hey man, what are you talking about?
Oh,
What
yeah.
I've done out there.
Yeah, it had broke on. It's on the I guess what would be the west side of the course, it had broke off, so we're gonna get that fixed in the next couple days. And that's it, really, nothing too new.
Any questions for Jacob? Thanks, sir. Tourism director, or whatever your hat is.
Whatever you're calling me today. We had a work day at the trailhead in the museum this past Saturday. Councilman Buddy Holly got to come down and we got him to doing some construction. But we want to thank Billy Joe and Donna Daniels. They came out to help us along with her daughter Andy and Kelsey. They came out to help us. The other names that helped us, a lot of them comprise of the Temperance Committee at CJ Sand, Linda Mulligan, Dina Jackson, Donna Billy Joe, and Buddy. But we made a lot of progress there. We got two huge display cases in the lobby there that Daryl Beeler donated us from the Superlative. I believe it's Antiques across the street. So we're working to get all of that in place. We've got another work day coming up, and every day, any of you all are allowed to come by to, obviously come by and help, not allowed, but welcome to come by at any time to look over some of the stuff that we have there to help put, see how you get your feedback on how we may display it. And we got some of the display cases downstairs. Buddy put casters on the bottom, so they're unbelievably heavy, so now we can move them to rotate the museum exhibits in and out as we go along there. We had most of you know, the mayor attended, we had a movie in December, was Chevy Chase's Christmas Vacation. Probably had about 300-something people come out to that free movie in December. And we're having another movie this Saturday night. We'd invite you to bring your wives or husbands out for a day. We're having Dirty Dancing at the movie Dirty Dancing at the Princess Theater, and it's a free movie, and our social media's already probably got doubled what it was for Christmas Vacation, so we expect a huge crowd to come out to watch that movie. Some other things that we're working on, I'm meeting with the Walden Ridge Car Club and some other people. We're going to try to work with them to try to reestablish the cruise in for here in the city of Harriman. We've seen some people have reached out to us, so we're going to try to work on getting that done. I'm also in the process of updating our tourism pamphlets for the city of Harriman, so if anybody on council or mayor or the departments have any ideas to put in the tourism pamphlets, I'm working with the Department of Tourism in Nashville, so we get those printed and get them in the visitor centers within so many mile area of the city. So if you have anything to add to that, we'll be happy to put it in suggestions for that. And also we're submitting all of our events to the state tourism websites and the state websites to get that underway. And also something new that I talked with Kevin about, and we're going to try to start doing every month, is a monthly newsletter for the city of Harriman. And that newsletter is going to be put out to update the council and the public what we've got going on in the city. Any department heads or the council or mayor, there are spots there. If you want to put any information in the newsletter, you're more than welcome to add that information. Also from the departments, and it's like I said, it's going to go on our website and social media, so that'll hopefully keep the council up to date what's going on and to keep the public up to date what's going on with the city also. So that'll be a good avenue for some more communications. Like I said, I give Teresa a list of some events that's coming up. Hopefully we got those all distributed out to you in the city. Other than that, I invite everybody to come out Saturday night to watch the movie or help serve popcorn or just come out and have fun. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Any other departments? Kevin, you have anything more?
Just a couple of things I'll update you on. Talked with the Department of Transportation. We expect that within 2 to 3 weeks we should receive the contract for the interstate lighting on exit 347. So that's something that'll be coming before council in the very near future. We have received our TDEC permit that we needed for the Margrave Drive project. After receiving it, we found out that we also need a permit from the Corps of Engineers. So that went off today. So we'll, if they're like they were when we did the work down at Riverfront on the bank, it took the Corps of Engineers longer than anybody else to get us our permit. So we're hoping it won't take as long this go around. It's a much smaller request that we're submitting, but we should be able to take that project to bid shortly after getting that permit back.
Why do we need Corps of Engineers?
Because we are extending a culvert in a blue line stream that is within a certain distance of the river.
Is that something TDOT, when we got the permit back from TDOT, they said you've got to have this from the Corps?
Yes. All the documentation has been submitted to USDA for our application for the grant and funding on the new building. So we'll be following up with them in the near future to try and put together a timeline for that project and see if we can expedite that through their agency as they review the information. And tomorrow, documentation should be submitted on the LPRF grant to TDAG for review, so that they can look at the site plan for the community center property, and hopefully we can get the approval then to go forward with bidding that project as well.
Anybody have anything for city manager? Thanks, sir.
Maybe we ought to talk to our senator about the Corps of Engineers. It sounds to me like they're getting too far into everybody's knickers. So I do.
All right, we're going to new business. First item, discuss and possibly approve paving recommendations from street committee. Kevin, you just want to highlight it?
Like Drac mentioned, the street committee met and they looked at some streets that have been brought to them for paving based on what we have put in the budget this year for that, and they made a recommendation that we pave Barnett Circle, Cedar, Vernell, and King.
Motion to approve.
I make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Wright, second by Councilman Johnson. Councilman Wright.
No, sir.
Councilman Johnson.
No, sir.
Floor is open for discussion.
This paving is limited because we only have 150,000 dollars in paving monies.
Can you say those names one more time, street names?
Barnett, Cedar, King, and Vernell. Now separately, we should be paving parts of Margrave and Carter using the state funding, referencing back to the core permit that I just mentioned. But that would be a separate project and probably a separate bid as well.
Okay. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Buddy Holly?
Yes.
Tim Johnson?
Yes.
Kenny Me?
Yes.
Sam Russell?
Yes.
Lonnie Wright?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, we're going to hold off until the next meeting to discuss, to approve it. And the next item, we're going to hold off to the next meeting also. We have a young lady that is interested in serving on the committee. A councilman has talked to her, but I have not talked to her yet. I'd like to talk to her before I recommend her. So, going to D. Discuss and possibly approve closing of alley adjacent to Harriman Baptist Tabernacle on Old Rome Street. This is what we discussed in the last meeting, and we asked that letters be drawn up and taken to the homeowners that are adjacent to that property to make sure that everybody's okay with it. And we understand we are not abandoning this alley. We're just closing it to through traffic so they don't keep going down, tearing up everything down through there. Does that sound right?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Russell,
I second it.
second by Councilman Johnson. Councilman Russell.
Like I said before, the Tabernacle Church, they do a fantastic job of keeping their grounds up, and I think this will go to help them do that.
Councilman Johnson.
I just think it'll help them a lot, closing that off. Appreciate what y'all are doing out there.
Floor is open for discussion.
Do we have the paperwork for it?
It's in your packet.
Oh, okay. That's all.
Allison, did you get to look and make sure no issue, just like a temporary closure?
I didn't, but I understand that this isn't going to impede anyone accessing their property or their home, which is the biggest thing with closing an alley. And I believe I saw communication that the property owners who are near the alley or have property up next to it don't oppose it either.
Any other questions? Call roll, please.
Buddy Holly?
Yes.
Tim Johnson?
Yes.
Kenny Me? Sam Russell?
Yes.
Lonnie Wright?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, discuss and possibly approve resolution R0120-04, a resolution for a joint bid agreement between Rome County and the City of Harriman to delinquent tax property tax sales. We looked at this back some years back, and we held off on it at that time. There were some questions, but I think it's come back up, and I think Dr. Curley has looked into it, and I'm sure Kevin has looked into it, and it seems to be the right mix right now. Dr. Curley, do you want to address it some?
No, only in that I did add a clause that would be in any future agreement that, and as part of this resolution, that we can stop anytime we want to. We can, it won't go on forever if we're not satisfied with how the agreement is working out. We can just dispense with it.
Okay.
Both parties can do that.
Motion to approve to go into agreement.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Wright, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Holly. Councilman Wright.
Motion.
Councilman Holly. Floor is open for discussion.
What changes? Are we still sending it to Mr. McPherson
Yes,
every
we are.
2 years and then?
He's doing it on an annual basis now to catch up. And so therefore we will be part of the process with the county, as is Rockwood and Kingston in the tax sale, and obviously those properties that don't sell, we will be taking ownership of them, and we'll be proceeding to sell those properties should the owners not redeem them.
Is the difference now the county's taking possession of the property?
We jointly do.
With this, we jointly will, or we
Yes.
do currently?
No, the city and the county will have joint ownership of the property. And any proceeds from the sale
We
of the
don't
property.
joint right now, the county's taking the burden by us signing this, we're just gonna split the burden with the county for, say it's one nobody buys and it's condemned, and we'll go in half.
Signing this, there's an underlying bid agreement with more specific details as to how the bids and will start out and everything and be prorated to the parties. But this will allow the tax sale to be held the same time with the county, so Harriman doesn't have to have one separate. Because the county properties are also being done with Rockwood and Kingston, and we can also add Harriman at the same time instead of having to advertise a separate sale.
Yeah, I understand, but if we're joining up with the county to take responsibility, then like the building next to us, when it burned down, the county came in and did the demo. Am I right? It wasn't on the city.
That building, I don't think was. Mr. McPherson's here if you want to ask more specific questions. about
Well, I mean,
that.
yeah, I don't. Can I yield the floor to you and ask you if is that the difference? Are we gonna be?
There is some responsibility, but the real essence of what you all have looked at this for some period of time is you don't have a process. You're required, if nobody else, if you have a sale, and you all didn't for several years before I started working on it, and then we got the sale, and we cleaned up a lot of things. And of course, the whole idea is, first of all, to have everybody share the tax burden equally, all the taxpayers, and second, in the instance where they're not, to have an enforcement mechanism. Okay? This mechanism, if you all, for example, if we have a tax sale, and there are county and city taxes right now that are owing, if you all bid it in as then you will eventually end up as the owner, but you will have the responsibility to pay the county for those taxes. You don't really want to do that. This takes that away and gives you the advantage. The county has got a system that is set up as we speak. And the system is that they go and they try to sell these things on GovDeal, and they handle all of it. They got a process. And you can tag along on that process if you have this joint bid agreement. And if, for example, if somebody owed $1,000 worth of Harriman taxes and $1,000 worth of county taxes, then the property is bid in at the whatever that minimum, what that is. Now, you all may not get that much out of it because it may be a piece of property that nobody wants and it has to get sold for a small amount of money. But it gets it back on the tax rolls and does give you all a stream of income that you're not realizing right at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, mine was mainly questioning the commercial stuff. If we're going to run into something that it might be cheaper to pay to do the process separate if we're not paying to tear down an old building downtown.
You'd end up with it anyhow. If we have a sale, you're going to bid it in, you're going to have the responsibility for it. If we have a sale and nobody else buys it, then the statute, the state law requires you to buy it. You're going to have it anyhow.
Which now, you know, if it's a building that has some kind of, something wrong with it, and the county decides that because it has hazardous material or something like it, they don't have to take it.
That's correct.
They have that option not to take it at the tax sale.
So we just are included with that then as...
Yes, it's a thing that we're doing to try to streamline it, get you all some money and give the county the process to get it back on the tax rolls where people will use it some way or the other.
Thank you.
Mr. McPherson, if the reference to where if there's, say, an environmental hazard and the county chooses not to
if it's an environmental hazard, you all can refuse to take it too. But of course, you all have got a piece of that over here. We deal with it every year.
Right.
The tax comes up on a piece that you've got. It's got an environmental problem. You're not required by statute to buy it. County doesn't buy it. You doesn't buy it. Now, it sits over there, and that's a problem for the city of Harriman. But it's not a situation where you're going to be forced to buy it if there's an environmental problem.
Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Buddy Holly?
Yes.
Tim Johnson?
Yes.
Kenny Me?
Yes.
Sam Russell?
Yes.
Ron Brown?
Yes.
Motion carries. That's all on the agenda. I'd like to read a letter and then ask the council if I could waive the agenda rule to address something on the letter. Dear Mayor, please accept this as a formal notice of my resignation from the Harriman City Council effective January the 9th, 2020. After careful consideration, I have made the decision to resign in order to further my career goal. Working with the City of Harriman has been a wonderful experience that has offered me many valuable opportunities to learn and grow, and I am very grateful to have been part of this organization. I wish the City of Harriman to continue growth and success in the future. Sincerely, Darrell Cook. I read that to let everyone know that Mr. Cook is no longer on council. He has resigned. But in doing that, he has left some spots open, and one of them that we need to get filled is the Finance Committee. The other ones we can wait on, but I'd like to ask the waive to agenda rule to put another individual on the Finance Committee.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Russell, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Wright. All in favor, aye? Any opposed, like sign?
But it's not my deal.
I'd like to recommend Mr. Buddy Holly to go on the Finance Committee.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Wright, second by Councilman Meade. Councilman Wright.
He's well qualified.
Councilman Meade.
Good choice.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Tim Johnson,
Yes.
Kenny Me,
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Council comments. Councilman Johnson.
I have none.
Councilman Russell. Councilman Wright.
I got a couple of questions. I commend the street committee for the paving plan and recommendations. And that brings up a question that's always in the back of my mind. Do we ever plan to have a special election on the sales tax increase that we've had before that would be devoted to paving? Because everything they do is well and good and needed, but we're all going to be gone by the time we get across this town. There's just so much need, and those guys know it. If we don't have some source to repave like we did 3 years ago, that one summer of work, we're never going to get around. They'll all be wore out trying to do it. And I just wondered if we ever plan to try to do anything about it.
I know we've looked at it, we've run it one time, and we said we was gonna do it again, we was gonna advertise it and try to educate people about what it was about, more so than we did the first time, and I think that's kind of where it stalled out at, was start the educational process to start explaining to people exactly what we was trying to do. And I mean, I'm in favor of us doing it again. I don't know if we can get it on this ballot or not. I think we can still, but we need to do some educating to explain to people exactly what it was. And we're just trying to bring the sales tax up to what most every other county around us is at. And to designate that money just to go into the paving and infrastructure of the city. I don't know if that answers your question, Councilman, but I think that most everybody up here was here when we pushed it through the first time. I think that they're willing, we just gotta get it, the people educated out there is exactly what we wanna do. Not saying that they're not educated, so don't take that in the wrong way, but just to try to show them exactly what we're trying to do.
Because if we don't, I mean, we're never going to be able to do it.
$150,000 a year just pays about 2 to 3 roads. So you're exactly right, we'll never get there unless we borrow another $2 or $3 million and try to do it again like what we did, what we're still paying for. So you're in a never win situation. Did you have something? You want to go forward? Yeah, Councilman.
HUB has started their gas lines now, so some of the roads we've already paved, I'm sure they'll be dug up.
You want to ruin our day.
Well, you're on HUB, I thought I'd tell you.
Mayor, can I yield the floor?
Yes, sir.
Mayor and City Council, to me, being a property owner in the city of Harriman, to address a sales tax increase And for people that continue to drive down Wrong Street and hit the bump, it's been there for years at the Harriman High School. If the state of Tennessee would fix that bump, you might have a better chance of passing a sales tax increase. But you try to pass that and citizens keep hitting that bump year after year. I mean, it's not, all of us that drive through there know what I'm talking about. And I don't know if it's a utility problem or what, but that's my input as an outsider, but as a property owner.
I know we've addressed that with the state several times, and the state has this whole corridor on schedule to be paved. When I came in here 4 years ago, it was gonna be next year, and then next year, and next year. It's been on there for 4 years. Every year I think it's gonna be this year, and then we get something that says next year. Where are we at, 2 years now?
At present, it's not showing them the next 3 years.
So now it's jumped off the 3-year map. But that's what, and I don't know how you win that. We've been down and talked to them, and they say, oh yeah, it'll be, I know when I came in here, it was on schedule. And, you know, the state just keeps moving it, but we'll address that issue again. But I agree with what you're saying. And I think people have to see that when you say you're gonna raise the sales tax, our thing is with raising sales taxes, it gets everybody that comes in through our city, rides on our roads. It helps them share the burden of what we share. But, you know, you gotta get out and ride it, and you gotta show that you're improving it. But what we wanna do is make sure people understand that that's the only thing we wanna use this money for. You know, we don't wanna buy police cars and this and that. We just wanna pave, just fix our infrastructure. And that's the biggest thing of us getting it out to people, is just to tell them that we're not using it for raises or anything. That money is set aside to do paving.
I think it's only like $150 on $100 that you spend, or $1.50 on every $100 you spend, so it's not huge. I don't think it's gonna break anybody, but it does spread the load out on everything.
Dr. Curley, would you say that 50% of the sales tax comes from out of the community customers?
It's a good chunk. I'm not sure 50. You mean from out of state, from sales on the internet and things like that?
No, I'm talking
Sales tax.
Oh, the sales tax itself. Yeah, comes outside the city boundaries. When we completed the work at Midtown, we increased by at least 25% there, and we were, you know, it went in stages, so it actually increased over time. But we had Lowe's and Kroger come in first, and that added quite a bit of sales tax to the city. And then when the other stores came in and the other buildings, that bumped it up. I'd say 50%, yeah, at least.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Holly.
Well, I think we ought to approach it again, and like you said, explain, you know, things like that. If half of the money will come from people that live outside the city, and help us pave the roads that they use and drive on every day. I'm all for it, so. I live here, I'll pay the $1.50 per 100, there's no problem with that, but pay more than that if it needs to be.
It'd be a good idea, I think, to discuss it in more detail in a workshop.
Yeah.
There are some economic trends that need to be taken into consideration.
Councilman Meade.
Yeah, I would like to say if we do that, we need to, like we thought about after the first time, it needs to be on its own, just pay the money and do it on its own election. That way, that go out and vote are they'll know that issue, it's gonna be the only one on there. So I don't know if this year will be a good year to do it, they might be a little busy, but we need to start prepping for it, obviously, because we didn't from last time very much. And then, the other thing is, I wanna make sure Buddy's finance committee doesn't get revoked. We probably need to go ahead and make a formal accept Daryl's resignation by motion and vote.
I checked on it, I don't know that we have to approve his resignation.
I'm not sure offhand.
Yeah. Well, I checked on it, I don't think we do. We can,
Well,
just
I
be
just-
safe, but, yeah.
I don't want Buddy to get pulled off the committee or anything.
Well, I'd hate for, to pull all the checks back that he signs off on. Is that a motion to accept his
Yeah, I make
resignation?
a motion that we accept Daryl's resignation.
Second.
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilman Meade to accept Mr. Cook's resignation, second by Mr. Johnson. Mr. Meade.
No, sir. Thank you for the time he did though, so we can recognize him sometime.
Councilman Johnson.
He did good while he was on here.
Call the roll, please.
Buddy Holly,
Yes.
Tim Johnson,
Yes.
Kenyon Me,
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carried. Do you have anything else, Councilman?
No, sir.
Only thing I got is I hope I called everybody with the right name this week. Y'all had me some messed up last meeting. I was all over the place. I went back and watched the video, so I hope I called everybody with the right name. If I didn't, I'm sorry.
You can give them all the numbers, they never.
Well, I'm gonna start doing that. Number one, you go. Number two, I can't see them, so I don't know who's talking. All right, motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye? Any opposed, like sign.